When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Skims or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
This is The Planted Runner. I'm Coach Claire Bartholic. Most of us want to run faster with less effort and less chance of injury. And one of the best ways for new or developing runners to get faster is to increase your cadence. But if it were as simple as just speed up your feet and you'll run faster, we'd all be doing that right now. So what exactly do we mean by the word cadence? The definition of cadence is a rhythmic pattern or flow of sounds, motions, or events. A river has a cadence, your work week probably has a cadence, and of course, so does your running. Your running cadence is the pattern or number of steps you run per minute. Increase your cadence and you're halfway to running faster. Lengthening your stride is the other half of the equation, but doing that can be problematic. It's far more effective to focus on quickening your feet. Let's explore why. Welcome to The Planted Runner. I'm Coach Claire Bartholic, and my mission is to help you improve your running, your mindset, and your life with science-backed training and plant-based nutrition. On today's show, I'm going to dive into your running cadence. I'll go over why focusing on your cadence can be an important tool for gaining speed with lower injury risk. Some myths about the ideal cadence for runners, and I'll explain a few techniques for improving your cadence to help you get quicker, faster. Don't forget to stay tuned all the way to the end of the episode for another Mental Strength Minute. Fortify your mind in 60 seconds or less. What most people do when they try to run faster is to take longer strides, and that's probably not ideal at first. So what's wrong with lengthening your stride? After all, covering more ground with each step is part of how you run faster. Let me explain with an example. Imagine you are not a trained runner and you're at your company picnic having some barbecue with your coworkers. Suddenly, your boss decides it would be a great idea to challenge the team to a foot race. First person to tag the picnic table at the end of the lawn gets a bonus and company-wide bragging rights. At the sound of go, you drop your plate of coleslaw, tear across the grass, reaching with each stride to get you to the table first. Now, what's wrong with this picture? Well, besides the absurdity of making untrained office workers race for their employer's amusement, it's the reaching that's the problem. When you're extending your legs in an effort to cover more ground with each stride, the rest of your body doesn't have time to catch up before your front foot hits the ground. This is called overstriding. The impact forces that are created on a straight leg ahead of your center of gravity will both break you and break you if you're not careful. Your knees and your hips will be forced to absorb more impact than they are designed to, leading to injury. Instead of reaching out to pull yourself forward, a better way is to push yourself from behind with great form and powerful legs. But neither of those things just simply happen to most runners. They are developed over time. The good news is you can work on the other half of the speed equation right now by quickening your cadence. When you actively try to quicken your steps to keep the same pace, you'll need to shorten your strides. This will do two things. It will get you used to a quicker turnover with your feet, but it will also prevent you from overstriding and all of the negative costs. How fast do your feet need to be? Well, if you said 180 steps per minute, you're right. Well, maybe. Actually, not really. The 180 steps per minute cadence theory came out in 1984 when legendary coach Jack Daniels started counting the steps of the runners at the Olympics. The world's best runners took an average of 180 steps per minute, and since these are the fastest runners in the world, clearly they're doing something right. This has been the standard running advice ever since. The magic 180 number was further solidified as recently as 2016. Using data from 20 competitors at the International Association of Ultra Running 100K World Championships, researchers found that their average cadence was 182 steps per minute. But averaging data is a problematic analytical tool. It assumes that all elites are roughly running the same way, when the reality couldn't be any further from the truth. In the 2016 study, there was massive individual variation. One elite competitor averaged 155, while another averaged 203. Those two runners finished the race within just a few minutes of each other, after nearly 7 hours of running. Trying to make a universal rule about cadence for everyone clearly doesn't make any sense. And remember, these were ultra runners. What makes sense for very long distances might not translate to the marathon and shorter. One of the most closely associated traits to cadence is your height. Taller runners have longer legs and tend to take longer strides. They don't need to have such a quick cadence to cover the same ground. Conversely, shorter runners need to turn their legs over faster. But this correlation is by no means universal either. I coach a runner named Christopher who is actively working to raise his cadence above 160. He's not a tall runner, but he is a very fast marathoner. If he's not taking very quick steps, he must be taking long ones to run fast, and that could be a factor in his recent Achilles issues. Now, back to the magic 180 number. Why are we still talking about it? Well, most good runners do tend to get around that number, and telling runners to aim to increase their cadence is a whole lot easier than trying to teach them to lessen their ground contact time or change the angle of their foot strike. But aiming for an arbitrary number isn't the goal. Our bodies are amazingly adaptable. Your body will find the way to run using the least amount of energy possible for your current fitness, mechanics, and experience. That means you will run with the cadence that suits your body right now without even thinking about it. So does that mean that we don't need to change a thing when it comes to form and cadence? I mean, if we are self-optimizing automatically and running the best way possible naturally, why bother changing? Well, if you want to run faster and nudge that natural process of adaptation along, working on your cadence and running mechanics in general can help. I'll go over how when we come back. As runners, you know we need to hydrate, and that means we naturally drink a lot more water than pretty much everyone else. That also means if there's any kind of contaminants in your water, you're also drinking up a lot more of the bad stuff too. That's why you got to check out AquaTrue. AquaTrue purifiers use a 4-stage reverse osmosis purification process, and their countertop purifiers work with no installation or plumbing. It removes 15 times more contaminants than ordinary pitcher filters. Just one set of filters from their classic purifier makes the equivalent of 4,500 bottles of water. That's less than 3 cents a bottle. What really convinced me is that I'm a bit of a coffee snob. Using AquaTrue makes my pre-run pour-over taste amazing. AquaTrue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee and even makes a great gift. Today, my listeners can receive 20% off any AquaTrue purifier. Just go to aquatrue.com. That's AQUATRU.com and enter the code PLANTEDRUNNER at checkout. That's 20% off any AquaTrue water purifier when you go to aquatrue.com and use promo code PLANTEDRUNNER.
There is no hood like parenthood. When you meet a fellow parent, you just kind of get each other on a whole nother level. Hi, I'm Kanika Chadda Gupta. I'm a former CNN journalist, mom of 3, including twins, and host of That's Total Mom Sense, the podcast. I interview changemakers on their life lessons, legacy, and superpower of intuition, aka their mom sense and dad sense. I've had some pretty amazing parents on my show.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kelly Rowland.
Hi, this is Chelsea Clinton. It's me, Bobby Brown. Can't wait to share my story.
Episodes release every Thursday. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. Join my tribe at thatstotalmomsense.com and follow me on Instagram at Kanika Chadda Gupta. I'm thrilled to be on this journey with you.
Welcome back to The Planted Runner. I'm Coach Claire Bartholic. While our body will naturally choose the most efficient way to run for our current body and fitness, many runners are trying to train for our future fitness. We're not content with how we run currently, and we're always looking for ways to improve. Working on your cadence is one of the ways that we can teach the body to run faster while still staying economical. So how exactly do we work on our cadence? The first way is simply remembering to move your feet a little faster with each run. If you're listening to this on the run right now, you probably are already increasing your cadence because I'm telling you to. But unless you want to listen to this episode on repeat every time you run, and I won't be mad at you if you do, you're not going to actively be able to think about your cadence all the time. You'll have to do some deliberate practice outside of your regular running. There are lots of quick feet drills out there that you can try, and you can do them before your run as part of your warm-up routine or after an easy run. The simplest one is running in place, aiming for the fastest turnover possible. If you're going really fast, it won't take long before you're ready to quit this drill. Classic drills like butt kicks and high knees can also improve your cadence and overall mechanics, especially if you're performing them quickly. The next place to work on your turnover is during strides. Strides are 20 to 30 seconds of very fast, but not quite all out running, done after your easy runs. Your goal is to run with as many steps possible during those few seconds, not to run as fast as possible, even though you will be running fast. You're teaching your brain and your body what fast running feels like in small but regular doses. Remember, we're trying to enhance our body's own self-optimization system, and we'd like it to self-optimize for speed. I've done an entire episode on strides, so be sure to check that one out to learn all the little details of how to do them for maximum benefits. While quick feet is the goal, quick arms might be a better way to get there, because what your arms do, the legs tend to follow. So think about your arm swing. Just like with our legs, we don't want to be reaching forward with our arms. We want the power to come from behind. So drive your arms backwards, keeping your elbows compact to your sides. This also tends to keep your chest forward and torso aligned in good form as well. Speaking of good form, your posture matters, especially if you're suddenly going to be taking more steps with every run. Yes, when you're shortening your stride, it's harder to overstride, but some runners who are told to increase their cadence are not making any progress. Our posture is one of the reasons why. Most of us are sitting behind steering wheels and desks all day long, and that takes a toll on our posture, which will show up in our running. Many new runners will keep this seated position throughout their runs with bent hips, downcast eyes, slumped shoulders, with their weight landing on their heels. Runners with good form run tall instead. I'm going to teach you exactly what this feels like, and this is something you can do before every single run, and if you're running right now, you might want to stop for a moment and try this. Start with both feet on the ground and raise both hands as high as you possibly can over your head without lifting your heels. Next, without moving anything else in your body except your arms, lower your arms to your sides slowly. Your hips and back are still in the same position as they were when your arms were reaching overhead. Now, take a look at your shoes. Do you see the bow of your shoelaces? If not, lean forward from your torso, but be sure to keep your entire body in that same tall reaching position. Don't lift your heels, but you should feel your body weight shift to the midfoot or the balls of your feet. Lift just your head and look forward, straight ahead. This is your forward lean. Do this often to feel what proper body position feels like. To take the next step, literally, keep your body in the same tall lean and imagine that you're a world-class ski jumper. Lean forward by shifting your weight to your toes, not from your waist, until you have to take a step to catch yourself. And then keep running, aiming to keep your whole body in that same alignment. It should feel like controlled falling with each step. It will be impossible to overstride because your foot can't get ahead of you when you're leaning like this. Like learning anything new, this will feel awkward at first, but eventually you'll build endurance in your tall posture and it will feel like second nature. I suggest starting every single run you do with this simple exercise and see how long you can maintain it. Your brain can't consciously think of any topic for too long, so our goal is to practice it enough that you don't have to think about it at all. At a certain point, as you grow more experienced as a runner, your cadence will settle into a fairly stable pattern. Once that happens, should you forget all about it? Well, you could, but like all data that we collect about our runs, you might find some patterns in your cadence trends that could tell you something about your fitness. For example, your cadence might fall a bit as you get fitter. That might seem counterintuitive, but what that could mean is that your stride has gotten more powerful. Your body is self-optimizing, using fewer steps to get the same results. Understanding cadence is a fundamental part of learning to run your best. Whether you want to run faster, farther, stay injury-free, or all of the above, quick, light feet are key. But don't assume there's a certain number of steps per minute that is universal. Your body, with a little help from your training, will find a unique rhythmic flow of its own. And now it's time for the Mental Strength Minute. Fortify your mind in 60 seconds or less. Today's topic is you get an A+ for being a B student. Many runners are naturally high achievers. We expect to work hard and then earn our results. But there comes a point in running where more work and killer workouts don't make you a better runner. More becomes too much, and perfect is always out of reach. What works far better is being okay with being a B student of the sport. You will have much better progress and a lower injury risk if your biggest focus is showing up consistently, doing the work, but not striving for that last 10 to 15% out of yourself every day. Not only will your fitness grow reliably over time, you'll probably be a lot less stressed out in the process. Thank you for listening to The Planted Runner, part of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Don't forget that you can win free access to one of my Sprint Session masterclasses just for writing an Apple Podcast review. So be sure to write yours right after your run today. Reviews are the #1 way to boost this show's reach, and it's a great way to tell me what you'd like to hear next because I read every single one. Have a great run today.
Hear Her Sports is a podcast for everyone who loves stories by and about women striving to improve and make a difference in their lives. I am your host, Elizabeth Emery, a former professional cyclist. In every episode, I introduce a female athlete or woman in the business of sport through a thoughtful conversation about who they are and the terrific work they're doing. My guests and I explore the glorious and frustrating issues in sports, history, equity, training, nutrition, and so much more. Join us for inspiration, for community, and for love of being a strong, athletic woman.